live. What's up, everybody? Fucking welcome to the Reptile Love Show with me, BPL, and Darius Reptiles.
No, I'm just kidding. I was gonna act like he was frozen.
Funny. Ha 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 ha.
What is up? Welcome to the show, man. Big Derek in the building, BPL in the building. It's a Reptile Love Show where we talk about everything in the reptile hobby, man. So what's been going on with you, BPL?
Not much. What's up, Area 51, Bosa? Everybody that's joined, I think ASMR's in here, BPL Junior's up in here, DWR's up in here. I'm doing good, man. Doing good. Fucking busy as shit at work.
You got to tell us, man. So you were in the process of getting new animals, man. What happened with that?
Getting him this Sunday. He actually had his shit came up, and he had to go change out some car parts. So it's all good because he's moving to San Diego. So I get it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you want to make sure your ride's reliable going that far. I get it.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, hopefully I'm getting something new tomorrow too.
Sweet. Fuck yeah. What are you getting?
I'm trading my sand boa for an Amazon tree boa.
Okay.
I'm pretty excited.
You ready for that bite?
BPL, I don't give a damn about none of that shit.
Nah, are you ready for that bite?
You know, a lot of my snakes bite, bro. You didn't see that video where I let my red tail boa bite me?
I don't think I saw that one, no.
Yeah, I got a short on my YouTube where my red tail boa bites me like 3 times.
Damn.
And see, I got a lot of my
fully grown?
It's like medium size.
Okay.
So I got a short with my red tail boa biting me. And then I got a children's python that's been starting to get a little bitey. I think it's really food excited. And then I got that, like I said, that sand boa that's been biting me. So a lot of my snakes are biting now. So I ain't really too scared about the Amazon tree boa bite. But anyways, let's jump to the show. Man.
Shit.
What's wrong?
Did you see that video where Derek was crying tears with that chip?
Yeah,
man. So the funny thing is, I got my chip. It's on its way. Tuesday or Wednesday next week.
Hey, everybody laughing about the one chip challenge. If you ain't did the one chip challenge, I don't want to hear no mess. Area 51. But we can go ahead and let's go ahead and jump into the show, man, and talk about what's going on in the hobby. But first off, let's talk about the first subject, Patreon. Pull up that Patreon because it's gonna lead into like all the topics. So let's talk about this. Justin Canova. Now everybody knows this is the king of ball pythons. He just had Canova Fest, and what that is where he, not necessarily Canova Fest. I think that was like in June or July, but he still flies out, his people that are VIPs for like 6 to 7 months or longer. I think like once a month or once every like 3 or 4 months, he flies them out to his facility and does a walkthrough. So my question to you is this good for first? Not necessarily we'll talk about Kabelka later, but Patreon, is this good for the hobby or bad for the hobby?
I think it's a good thing. Here's why. The reason why I think it's a good thing, especially if you're a big breeder like he is, the king of it. Of course, people want that facility tour. They want to come in, and they want to see stuff that you haven't shown yet. I think it's a good idea. I'm happy for the dude.
Patreon, every Patreon. Now you can take that one down. You can take that down. We'll bring it back up in a second. When it comes to Patreon, there's multiple levels. You can have a $5 tier, a $20 tier, a $100 tier. I think Patreon is good. Now hear me out. I think Patreon is good, but not for the bigger breeders. And I'll tell you why. A lot of these people have information. I don't want to pay for the information. Just give it to me free.
See, I disagree. That's where, because once again, he's doing a lot of the world's first. He has if you want to be honest, he has the best collection, in my own opinion, out there.
So if somebody has information and they said I'm not giving it to you unless you pay for it. That don't get on you. That don't bother you a little bit.
Nah.
Fuck that. I ain't paying. I don't. I'm not a Patreon member to nobody. I feel like that's why. And I'm gonna tell you something. That's why I started my podcast. I feel like if you are the bit, and I'm not talking about Canova. I'm just speaking in general. I feel like if you're the best in the game, share that knowledge, because if you don't share that knowledge, it dies with you. Does that make sense?
Yes, but at the same time, I mean, look at his collection. It's not like just some like
so you're for Patreon.
Basic stuff. If you're a big enough breeder and you could do a facility tour and all that, yeah, do it. Fucking
We're not talking about tours. I'm talking about only information. I don't care about the tours. I mean, if you needed
okay,
help,
even just information itself. Yes, I think it's a good idea. I mean, because yes, there's some negative about it in my opinion.
I want to interrupt. I'm gonna give you a scenario. Let's say
Go for it.
you just had a clutch of eggs. Let's say it just pipped, and you don't know the morph of what's in the egg. And I knew the morph. You said, Derek, what's the morph in this egg? And I said, I'll tell you for $100. You pay it.
No. See, because then no. Here's why. That's different from Patreon. He's not asking for.
No, it's not, David. No, it's not. That's the exact reason of Patreon. Yes, no, it's not.
Man.
There are breeders on there. If you hit up right now, a breeder, they will tell you. Shout out to High Desert Pythons. He will tell you. Don't.
I agree. Read this from Bosa. Read that from Bosa.
Yeah, I'm just being. We ain't talking about that. I'm just being devil's advocate. So okay. You're here for it? You're here for Patreon?
If you really want to know some high tech genes like he has, yeah.
Fuck that.
You gotta think about it like that.
Fuck that. I want the information for free. I'm just playing around, man. I think Patreon is good. It excites me to see what people are doing with their Patreon. Shout out to, like I said, Justin. I think if you're doing a Patreon and you're giving away the shit that he's giving away, it's amazing. Like, have you ever thought about trying to go see his collection at Canova?
It'd be awesome. I mean, okay, so let's bring up another person that does Patreon. Miguel at AP, Always Evolving Pythons. He has the same thing, but yet he puts your money back into where you can buy stuff. You know what I'm saying?
That's a good thing. I think it's good. If you have a Patreon and you're returning the money, then that's awesome. But like I said, I think so.
I mean, it works both ways.
Hell yeah, I'm for it, man. Now let's talk about it. Bring up. I'm curious, man. So what's your take on the ball python market right now? Because have you been keeping up with Justin Kabelka? Before I sent you those screenshots.
No, I did not see that until recently. I don't have IG, and I believe that was posted on Instagram.
Isn't that crazy? Pull those up.
Okay, here's the first one.
Screenshots. What did you get from this I don't know if you went to Instagram and you watched that. I love that he has that knowledge and he's sharing it. If you look right here, find out how you can use the upcoming economic downturn to strengthen your ball python business. I love that, he sees the downs in the market. He's like, I still want to help you strengthen your business. Like, how do you feel about that?
See, he's telling it how it is straight up. Like, he's letting you know, like, there's a downfall to this, but there's an upside to it at the same time. No, I haven't even watched the video, to be honest with you. Once again, don't have Instagram at the moment.
Yeah.
But he's letting you know that there is a downfall and there's an uprise as well. Like, it all depends. See, and that's what it really comes down to. Like, what are you breeding? What are you truly breeding?
When I watch those videos, I love that he said, like, look, in slow times, just focus on the projects you want to keep. Focus on keeping what you're going to keep, feed it, and just sell that, because I don't know. Are there any breeders out in our section right now? Like Bose, I don't know if he breeds. When I don't know if you've seen this from Kabelka, but what I kind of took from it was he's like saying, hey, there is a upcoming economic downturn. And what I took from it was, and I could be wrong, was saying, hey, ball python, selling might be slowing down a little bit, but if it is slowing down, focus on what you want to keep, so you don't just completely just get shut out of the market. And I don't know if I'm right or wrong, but are there any breeders here in our chat right now that actually are fans of Kabelka?
Craft's still here. I know he does. Bosa, I believe, does.
And see, I don't want to quote him, but that's kind of what I took from it. And I was kind of thinking that, like, do you think that the ball python market is starting to slow down because there's so many people selling?
Yes, and once again, yes. I mean, it is going to slow down for, I would say, a majority of the people. And here's, once again, it's about Area 51 starting to breed. And Bosa says breeding only for me right now. So, like, he's still breeding, though, right? So, but once again, most people, I'm not to put it in a harsh way, not to crush any dreams over here, but it's depending on the morphs you have in your collection that are going to make you, if you're after money, then not to say it like that, but like if you're wanting to make money on it, it's about the morphs you have in your collection. Because if you're like, all I got is pastels, normal, and pinstripes, I mean, you're limited, right? But the minute you add pie, clowns, you add exanthic, you add puzzle, you start doing these other morphs, you start adding them into each other. Like, that's where people are like, wow, this guy is breeding some amazing. I mean, not saying like, even to me, a normal to a normal is amazing, right? But for other people that are trying to get into these vibrant colors, the desert ghosts, to make it more cleaner, that's what it really comes down to.
Now, for me, breeding as a full-time business scares me, and I'll tell you why. I used to work at a furniture store, and I was a salesman. It's hot as shit in this nursery. Forgive me. You can take that down. We'll talk about it more in a little bit.
Are you still feeling that chip? Is that why it's hot?
No, it's hot in the building. The heat's on. I think that I'll give you an example. The reason that breeding scares me, and shout out to the people that are breeding, but for me, I witnessed it firsthand. Like, I was a salesman at Nebraska Furniture Mart, and this is when they first came to Kansas City. They first opened. It was like maybe 3 salesmen in my department. I'm selling everything. I'm selling this washer. I'm selling that washer. I'm selling this dryer. And as time progressed, the market got saturated. It was 3 salesmen, and then I noticed there was fucking 25 salesmen, and it was a lot harder for me to sell. Don't get me wrong, I still have my repeat clients, but it was a lot harder for me to get sales because I've seen so many, new salesmen just kept popping up. And I'm just like, same with like Kabelka, and I love that he's giving us these tips, but that just scares me when I see the king of ball pythons saying, hey, there's an economic downturn coming. You better work on your collection. Get focused. Shit's about to get rough. You know what I mean? How do you other breeders feel out there? Are you nervous right now? With this announcement because this is the king of all pythons.
No, I'm not nervous, and this is why I'm not, because I understand what you're saying. Being a salesman, I get it. I totally understand it. But at the same time, that just shows you went from 3 salesmen to 20 salesmen because the business is growing. But you got to look at it like this: Justin Velka only has 1 salesman, and that's him. Other guys work for him, and he pays them, but yet he's the main salesman. You see what I'm saying? It's not like you go over there and be like, I'm selling your snake for this and that, blah, blah, blah. Like, he's going to be like, this is my stuff. I want to sell it for this amount, blah, blah, blah. So, once again, it's one of those, what do you have in your collection? Because the salesman itself is you personally breeding your animals, and how well are you at graphing a design to get them out there better Like instead of just using YouTube, instead of just using Morph Market, it's like, are you going out locally, explaining knowledge to people about snakes? Are you going to schools? Are you willing to travel to another state to do some kind of like, you know, random reptile thing and be like, yo, can I come over here to your state and explain what's going on? You know what I'm saying? So like, there's a lot more to play.
I'm going door to door. Because I would be cheap. I'm door to door. You want to buy a snake? You want to buy a snake?
Hit up all your neighbors and say, you want this?
You think about this shit. To me, for real, sales, this shit is a number game. The more people I used to sell phones, and now it was a number game. The more people you hit, the easier it was to sell what you were selling. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. So like, once again, if you just don't rely on Morph Market, and you don't rely just on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube, and you actually do other things to bring profit or like business towards you, is the better that you will have, like the betterness that it will have for you. You see what I'm saying? Because
I agree. I definitely agree. Time will tell. Like I said, I love that. You know what I'm saying? To see the king of ball python say, hey, you know, an economic downturn is coming. Get focused. I love that he, even being the king, he still want to help people, and I think that that's amazing. So shout out to Belka, man. What's up, Iron Dog?
We got in the chat. Big ol' Iron Dog, what up?
Yeah, let's keep the show going.
And like,
I think that's amazing. I love seeing that. I love seeing people that are breathing and they're not worried. I think that as long as you listen to what Kabelka's saying, you take advice, I think in the long run it'll be amazing. Now, let's go back to the next topic, man. I wanna let's go back to the no, don't put anything up just yet. Put up the I wanna go back to the Patreon. Put up that Patreon time. Now we're sitting here, we're talking about Patreon. So my question to you is, I remember Miguel told you to start a Patreon. Do you feel like he gave you good advice or bad advice? And why or why not?
Yes, he gave me great. Honestly, I think it's great advice, but it comes with some not good. I mean, yes, it's good advice, right? Like I like that Miguel gave me that advice and all that, but at the same time, the amount of subscribers he has, the followers on Facebook, IG, all this other Morph Market, blah, blah, you know what I'm saying? Like, it all adds up, right? And with me not having all those subscribers like he does, over 100,000, it's really more difficult for people to be like, let's check out like BPO on Patreon compared to him, or like AP, or, you know, you got Billy from Mutation Creation. I mean, I can name all these big guys that have it, and people would rather go there because they have established, and that's another thing. They have established themselves from a while doing this. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's like you being day one, being like, I'm doing a Patreon.
I want to interrupt you. I think that he gave you good advice, but I think he gave it to you too soon. I think that, you know, I think anybody can start a Patreon as long as you have something to offer. You know, I don't think the number of subscribers means anything, because I've seen people on Patreon have 100,000 subscribers. I've seen High Desert Pythons on Patreon that has 10,000 subscribers and can still build an amazing Patreon. Or even MJ from Trap Talk. He has like 5,000 subscribers on YouTube, but he still has that Patreon because he has something to offer. I think that, Correct. For me, I would say, if I was going to tell anybody to start a Patreon, what do you, because this is the hobby, this is the reptile hobby, as what are you giving? You know what I mean? What are you giving that people want to buy? You know what I mean? I don't care about the subscribers.
Well, okay, so look at it like this. Look at it like this, right? So let's just take, because we're talking about Justin Kabelka, and we're also talking about Miguel from Always Evolving Pythons. Miguel gives you your money back, and so you can use it in the future, while Justin's giving you knowledge. You see what I'm saying? So you have to bring something special to your Patreon to make people want to go to your Patreon. Because if you're just like, hey, I want to let you see all my YouTube videos prior to that, then you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I thought about it and I didn't do it. I thought about it, but I'm just like, I think it'll be too hard. But I don't know. Time will tell. I think once you have that established base, you know, of having, you know, a certain amount of subscribers, but not just that, something to offer. that you can't get on YouTube, you can't get on TikTok. I think that that's the best time to start a Patreon. I'm not gonna lie. After I seen that Justin.
But what are you bringing to the table? That's what it comes down to. What are you bringing to that Patreon? You know what I'm saying? It has to be different from your other platforms for people to pay to see it.
Exactly. When I seen that Justin Cabelka on his VIP tier was bringing people to this facility, I'm like, damn, I will pay $100 to go to his facility. It's not a bad little expense.
Nah, dude. Once again, like I said, even the knowledge he gives to just going to the facility and seeing stuff that is like first, you know, he's making world first stuff, and we all have a hidden arc, right? We all have reptiles in here, of course. So we all have that hidden arc that Dave Kaufman brought up in the Ball Python movie, correct? But he has I hate not in a negative way to everybody, but like Justin Cabelka has the ultimate hidden arc.
Right.
Like when it comes to breeding and morphs and everything else, he has the best arc. Right, now, that doesn't mean, though, there's someone like, and I believe this, and I really do, because like Iron Dog has told me in the past, some of those things have probably been made before by some guy that has all his snakes in the basement that doesn't do any kind of fucking social media at all. You know what I'm saying? But
well, anyways, just a great subject to talk about. I think that Patreon is big in the reptile community, and I think that people need to talk about it. I think it needs to get out more because, like I said, it's definitely good if you want the knowledge is there. Especially if you want to talk to your favorite breeders, they instantly share their Patreon. So if you want to hit up one of your breeders, get on their Patreon, and they're instantly right there at your fingertips. Now let's and shout out to Cabelka, man, for, like I said, just helping everybody. Now let's go to the next topic. I want to talk about Florida, man. Like, what's your takes on Florida, man? Where do you see the future of Florida?
See, that I honestly want to say Florida would be the roughest state to have reptiles. There's so many different laws. Like, things are changing yearly. It doesn't matter if it's a red. Like right now, we're going through this midterm election. It doesn't matter if it's red or blue. Shit's changing every year there. Like, it's a tough state to live in when it comes to owning reptiles.
I agree.
Now, if you're like 65 and you want to retire in Florida, that's a whole nother question. All right, we could talk that. I think having reptiles, though, yeah.
I agree. I think that they are definitely getting hit hard. So let's bring up the next story and we can talk about it. Show the picture of the deputy catching the snake, and then we're gonna read it and talk about it.
All right, let me make sure I pull up the right one. Hopefully it's this one.
It. So in Florida, deputy, and this is a sheriff deputy. But the story intrigued me, and I'll tell you why. I'm gonna read it to you. I'll tell you why. Deputy captures 10-foot, 75-pound boa constrictor in a Florida neighborhood. A deputy holds up the 10-foot boa constrictor found in a Florida neighborhood, and he's from the sheriff's office. Now, you've all heard snakes on a plane. What about snakes in your neighborhood? Now, go to the second
one. With what's his name in it, or no?
No. Should just be words. No, not that one. Yes, that one. You've all heard of snakes on a plane, but what about snakes in your neighborhood? A massive 10-foot, I can't read that, it's so small. Massive 10-foot, 70-pound boa was captured by a deputy in Florida. But here's the intriguing part. This is what intrigued me. This is what caught my eye. With the sheriff got help from the Florida Fish and Wildlife Commission. That is the FWC, the people that are going against all our rights. Those are the people that don't want us to keep animals, and they are helping the sheriff's office catch this loose snake. And so my question is, what's your take on that? And then keep this up, because then we'll go to the next thing. So how do you feel about the FWC out catching loose snakes? Keep in mind that they hate reptiles.
Okay. Correct. So, I mean, it kind of reminds me of last week's conversation about the hunters, right?
Yeah.
Same shit. I disagree with it. They could tell me to go fuck myself, and they can go fuck themselves right back at the end of the day. But once again, like, who are they to say to what you can't have and own and keep. That's what it comes down to, in my opinion. Like, okay, yeah, you might find it wrong that you have a rock python or anaconda or a Burmese or reticulated or rainbow boa, whatever you want to bring up, right? Rosy boa, whatever. But yet, all they can say is negativity. Have they ever truly looked at the positivity of reptiles? Like, so here's a good one, right? Like, my wife was afraid of snakes, right, for a long time. But at the same time, now she's so attached to them, it's like a stress reliever for her. It's different from having a dog and a cat or goldfish and a fucking fish bowl or whatever you want to say, whatever animal. But having something that you actually could bond with that's different from different animals and just relieve stress and be happy is the FWC. Kiss my ass. I think reptiles are amazing. They need to spread more positivity instead of negativity. It's kind of like the people that are like, we don't support live feeder breeders. Okay, don't support me, but yeah, at the same time, I don't see you guys bitching about what's going on about the fucking skin trade. Okay, but no one wants to say anything about that, right? Like, there's multiple ways I could take this, but once again, it comes.
BPO, keep going. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Keep going.
But once again, it comes down to your own personality and what you want. Like, not everyone's going to be into reptiles, right? But not everyone's into dogs. Not everybody's into cats. Not everybody's into fish. Not, you know, we can break down each animal, and somebody's going to have a problem with you having that animal at the end of the day.
I think this story intrigued me because, like I said, first off, there's multiple parts of the story. For me to see the FWC, I love that they're not killing the snake. They didn't kill the snake, and I'll get into that. I love seeing the FWC out there catching animals, and I'll tell you why. I think to see an article saying that the FWC is catching animals is beneficial to us. But what I would like to see is somebody there while they're catching the animals. I would love to have somebody from our part of the hobby there educating them so that they don't actually pass laws. And what I mean by that is, they're in the field. They've just caught this boa, and they don't really know much about it, but they've caught it. I would love to see, I'll say it, Cameron from Nerd, Tyler Nolan, anybody that, even the smaller breeders. I would love to see another breeder be there with them to go out on those calls to say, okay, this snake isn't invasive. It can't live here, or it can live here, or, you don't need to be afraid. It's not venomous. It's venomous or it's non-venomous. Just educating them and kind of quelling it. I didn't want you to, I don't want you to show that right now. I wanted to get into that later. I wanted.
I'm just saying, Iron Dog. Go ahead.
Yeah, right though. He's right though. It is at Chandler's place, and I was gonna bring that up. We're gonna get to that part. But what I was saying as we're having this conversation, I would love to see somebody there that is educating them that on, what is this snake? Is it invasive? Is it venomous? Can it live here if the temperature gets too cold? And quelling their field so they didn't necessarily make laws. Now let's bring up the next part of the article, not with him holding, but the white box that I was going to read. And we're going to get into that topic. This snake is now being cared for at Chandler's Wildlife in St. Lucie County. The boa constrictor is native to Central and South America, where they occasionally reach a length of 13 feet, but are more typically around 8 feet, said the FWC. Now show the picture with Chandler holding. He put it on his YouTube, and I know Chandler. Shout out to Chandler. I got his cell phone number. I talk to him on Instagram all the time. Iron Dog's right. It's at Chandler's facility. Now, my question to you is, take that. You can take that down now. What's your take on this? And this isn't a diss towards Chandler. That's not what this is. This is a talk show.
No.
What's your take on reptile handlers working with the FWC? Should we work with them or should we work against it?
With them. And here's why. It's because, once again, they're passing the Florida laws, right? So with someone, especially Chandler, with so much experience, that's a good thing. He's showing them true knowledge about reptiles itself. Like, he's telling them this is how like they eat, this is when they shed. Like he could bring up the basic shit and then get in way advanced stuff. Like with somebody like that doing that with the FWC, I believe, in my own opinion, is a great thing. But that should be happening in every state, not just Florida. Like we should all like, hey, they just found this, you know, whatever snake or tegu or monitor like running free. Like there's ways of proving that it's not a horrible animal. Like just because the owner was probably scared of the snake or reptile and they let it go, doesn't mean that it's a bad animal.
Right. My take on it is, and we'll show Iron Dog's comment in just a second, because I kind of agree with him and I kind of disagree. I'll give my take on it. Let's talk about Iron Dog's comment. Flash that comment. I agree, but I disagree too. So what I mean by that is, he says you can't educate the FWC. They do what they want, and they've proved that time and time again. I absolutely agree. But when it comes to the question is, yes, I agree. The question isn't can we work with FWC, is can they work with us? Yes, I agree. My thing is, I don't think that we should stand by and do nothing, if that makes sense. So okay, you take that now. When it comes to like for instance Chandler, I love seeing him, you know, take this snake from the FWC, and I love seeing him there for the simple fact, you know, I firmly believe that if nobody was there when they caught this snake, the FWC would have said anything. Venomous snake caught, almost killed somebody, you know, but when somebody's there that can educate them and say that snake is this, that snake is this, that snake is this, and there's no ifs, ands, or buts, I think it's beneficial for us to work for them. And I'll give you two sides. We see and I'll give you an example. This is just my opinion. This is a talk show. We see Kevin at Nerd, right? He's like, fuck the FWC, fuck the FWC, fuck the FWC, fuck them, they're not doing nothing. Okay, I get that part. Fuck them, but we still need to work with them to try and get them to stop the laws. If that makes sense. It's like I'm on both sides of the fence. Fuck them, but let's still work with them to try and get them to, you know what I mean? I think that it's better for somebody to be there than to not be there. Does that make sense, BPL?
Yeah.
I think that it's better for, like you said, I love that they gave that snake to Chandler and didn't kill it. It just speaks volumes.
Like I think I agree with Iron Dog, dude. Like honestly, like you can't really educate them because they're already stuck in their own ways. It's a battle of its own. Like you could tell them like, hey, I have this many years of experience.
Do you think somebody should be there, or do you think somebody should not be there?
Okay, once again, so I'm going to say this again clearly. In every state, not just Florida, but every goddamn state in the U.S., right? You are a reptile breeder, and you know they are catching a reptile anyway, and you have knowledge of that reptile. Go to them and show them the knowledge and show them that there is positive to reptiles instead of negativity. Exactly. Just because it ate, you know, they honestly could have been like, oh, this snake could have ate little Charlie down the road on his little tricycle. But that's not the fucking case here. At the end of the day, it's not. What it comes down to is you being a reptile owner or breeder or hobbyist and going and showing, once again, it's hard to show somebody knowledge when they're already set in their ways, but you could still try to do that.
Exactly. I like I said, we're getting ready to go to the next topic, but like I said, you know, kudos to Chandler. I love that he was there. I love that he was involved. I totally agree with Iron Dog. I believe that you can't educate the FWC, but I still stand on what I believe. I still think it's better for us to be there than us not to be there, period. I think that, you know, because if we weren't there, who's to say if Chandler wouldn't have took that snake, what they would have did with it? You know, they could have killed it. They could have just shipped it somewhere, fucking made animal boots out of that bitch. I don't fucking know. You know what I mean? So I think that, and like I said, when on this show, that's what it's about. We talking about the good, the bad, and the ugly. And like I said, I think that as we end this topic, I love seeing the FWC out catching snakes, not killing them, and giving them to reptile owners. That's what we want.
Correct.
I love that. I love it. I can't do nothing but applaud that. You caught that snake, you didn't kill it, and you gave it to a responsible reptile owner. And for that, I love it. Correct. For me, thank God. I love it. I would love to see more of that. I would love to see, I wish that, when it comes to even their Burmese program where they're out killing Burmese, I get that they're invasive, but if you're catching them, I would love to see you give them to responsible owners. If fucking Chandler will take a Burmese, give it to him. Don't kill it. Give it to responsible owners, and that's how we're gonna save this hobby, saving the animals and just saving the hobby overall, man. Now, do you got any ending thoughts on this topic, BPO?
Educate as many people as you can, even if it's not your local wildlife control. Educate everybody that you can personally. Once again, this comes down to the whole like breeding and all that. Don't rely on. This is my personal take. You guys can disagree with me, but don't rely just on Facebook. Don't rely on just Instagram, Morph Market, YouTube. Are you doing that extra step that is different from everybody else slightly? Are you willing to go, like you said, knock on your neighbor's door, be like, can I educate you on some of this shit? Do you have a reptile? Have you ever held a snake? Have you ever seen a lizard? Have you ever had a pet reptile at all? Like, do your part to help the community be in a better spot, because the more and more, we talked about it last week, the venomous cobra, the Egyptian cobra that got out, like that hurt a little bit, but at the same time, are you doing enough on your end to show the positivity about these reptiles?
Right. I love it, man. Just an awesome show, man. Everybody in the chat, we appreciate
this next one's gonna get me fired up.
I mean, it's a good topic, though. I love it.
It is a good topic, but I got some shit to say about it.
When I seen that, because I get the emails to my phone. When I seen the picture, I'm just like, this is great for the hobby. You know what I mean? It's so beneficial for the hobby, man. I love seeing animals getting caught and given to responsible people. So, like I said, this is just an awesome outcome for the animal. He's going to be taken care of. That's a big fucking boa. What did they say? Pull that story back up. How big is that? Pull that story back up. I want to see the size of that.
Let's see. Let me go to it. I got to go back and scroll down to it. So give me 1 second.
Take your time.
10-foot boa constrictor.
No. Go to the other part. It has the weight of it. I think it's like 75 pounds. Go to the other one.
No, not that one.
10 foot, 75 pounds. That's a big fucking snake. 75 pounds?
Yeah.
That's a fucking monster. I don't think I would.
Let's get into the next topic, because this one's gonna piss me off. I got a lot of shit to say about this one.
The next topic.
I'm not joking, dude. This one.
So before we flash it, man, let's talk about, I think that, I don't know. Let's talk about responsible. Being responsible. Oh, well, we can't really say that because they didn't own the snake. So let's just bring it up. Let's bring it. Let's bring up the next topic, man. Welcome to this show.
This is gonna piss me the fuck off.
Now let's read this. Dad charged with manslaughter for ignoring son's pleas over fatal snake bite. And I'm gonna tell you what happened, because I read the story. You can take that down too if you want. I read the story. It was an interesting story when I seen it, BPL. So the son and the dad, they out there running errands. And keep in mind, this is in Australia. And I tell this to anybody. I've told this to Miss Gay. Shout out to Miss Gay. I don't know if she's ever going to see this, but I've told this to people that I've brung on. Like, I bring on reptile keepers on my podcast from Australia. In my mind, I would never want to herp in Australia, because everything in fucking Australia kills you. So, but let's keep the story going. So this son and dad, they're out and about running errands. And like I said, this is in Australia. The son feels a slight prick on his ankle, and he looks down and he sees a snake. And he doesn't think nothing of it. So they're running errands, they get home, and the article reads that the son told his dad, he said, "Dad, my ankle's really hurting. A snake bit me." And the dad said, "Oh, you'll be okay. Just go to bed." Son wakes up, goes to get something out of the refrigerator, and just falls out dead on the floor. Dead from a snake bite. I don't remember what snake it was, but they said it was extremely venomous. So my question is, crazy story. How does that make you feel, BPL, being a parent?
Pissed off. Okay, and this is why. Let me explain this very clearly. If you live fucking in Australia and your son or daughter says, "I've been bit by a snake," go to the fucking hospital. Don't be like, "Sleep it off. You'll be okay." It's totally different around me, right? Because the only rattlesnake up here is the Great Basin, but at the same time, we got bull snakes, gopher snakes, we got fucking gardener snakes. Okay, what kind of bite was it? Like, it goes from there. But where almost every animal in that country is deadly, go get checked out. And honestly, this might crush a few people out there, and they might be like, "You're an asshole and you're wrong." But the dad is truly at fault for not doing anything for his son. That's how I fucking feel.
You know what? It's a touchy subject, and I think it's even more touchy, being a parent. I never thought I would be a parent, but now that I am, and I see stories like this, the shit infuriates me, because it's like, my son's 2 years old, and I fucking baby him. That's my baby. If something happens, I'm picking him up. Come here, let daddy look at it. What's going on? So it's a sad story, but it first off, it makes you wonder, what kind of snake was it that if you didn't get it checked, it's going to kill you, And second off,
exactly, that's what it comes down to. I was going to say,
and the crazy thing about it is it's a kid that got bit, so the venom is worse in kids. Like, it might kill us, but it might take a little bit of time. For a kid, it's gonna go through that kid's whole body a lot quicker. It infuriates me. So my question to you, what do you think the dad's punishment should be? He didn't kill him. I mean, but he didn't help him. What's the punishment? You're the judge. This comes across your desk. The defendant is standing in front of you. What's the punishment?
You're gonna learn everything deadly about Australia reptiles. You're gonna and I want a full, like, high school fucking 10-page fucking report about every fucking reptile out there in Australia. Like, you're gonna do your goddamn homework, and you're gonna prove to me, like, it wasn't your fault, and you didn't know that your kid was bitten by something deadly. But once again, you live in Australia where everything is deadly. You can't go in the ocean without worrying about saltwater crocodiles, great white sharks, bull sharks, maybe, if they're down there. But once again, inland taipan, fucking, you got all these deadly venomous spiders, poisonous spiders down there, venomous snakes, like things that'll kill you easy. And you're gonna tell your kid, "Oh, you're fine. Sleep it off." No. Like, take him to the fucking hospital. You live in Australia, for God fucking sake. Like,
So you said he's got to learn everything, but no jail time? So what, just school?
Oh, no. He's going to prison. I'm sorry. I mean, people might be like, "That's fucked up." But, like, dude, your kid died on you. That's not a joke. Like, it might sound funny on your end, one chip challenge guy, but at the same time, dude, that's
going to fucking jail. I'm not laughing that he died. That's not funny. But I love seeing that passion in your eyes. I think that on the father's part, it was totally careless. I think that it definitely could have been prevented. For me, I'm gonna be honest with you. You killed your kid. For me, I'm gonna say at least 20, 25 years. How long would you give them?
Fucking lifetime.
You give them life?
Life, dude. You killed your son. You are going to, if I was judge, you're going to learn everything. I want fucking reports back, and you're going to fucking life in prison. And then unless you come back with all those reports correctly, then I might let you have a plea deal. But until then, Get your ass in there and do your research.
But what if he did? But what if he didn't know the snake was venomous?
You live in Australia. Tell me a snake that's not venomous besides a rosy boa. Can you think of one other one?
Not in Australia, man. Like not in Australia, man. Like I said, I think that it's one of the most deadliest countries in the deadliest continents, deadliest places in the world in general. Which is why I never want to hurt there, because fucking spiders, snakes.
Oh no. See, that's another thing. I would love to go herping there, but at the same time, if no, hear me out. That's a whole nother subject, going herping there. But if I was down there in Australia, right, and one of my sons were like, Dad, I was bit in the fucking foot and it's really hurting really bad, immediately doing like 100 to the hospital, I'll pull up and smack another car. I don't give a shit. We'll both go in there for reasons. But at the end of the day, I'm making sure he's good, not, hey, go sleep it off. That's not cool. When you know 95% of your snakes down there are deadly as shit. You see what I'm saying? You got the, what is it? The bush viper, or the, fuck, what is the name of it? But there's so many different venomous snakes. Exactly. So why wouldn't you take your kid after being bit by a snake, just even if it was a rosy boa, just for precaution only? You see what I'm saying? Like, that's something not to fuck around with.
I agree, man. The story definitely will tug at your heartstrings, man. It's so negligent, but it definitely opens your eyes. You know, there's a lot of people out there that don't use their brains. And that's what it's about, man. That's what
carpet python. About. Sorry, carpet.
Oh, the carpet python. Yeah, that's what Miss Gay keeps. Carpet pythons. That's what it's about.
Once again, so
go ahead. I apologize. Go ahead.
Once again, even if it was just a carpet python, just knowing you live around all these deadly animals, take your kid to the hospital. Be the responsible person bringing life into this world to make sure your life that you brought into this world is okay, and not being like, yeah, sleep it off, you'll be fine.
I definitely agree, man. I definitely agree. This was definitely a great episode, man. We almost went 50 minutes. We're not ending it yet, but for the people that tune in, we're gonna give you a quick recap before we end the show, man. We talked about so many amazing things today. We talked about Patreon.
But you have to understand, it's a different country, and they probably think other country is crazy. I think he should get some kind of punishment, but it could happen to anyone out there and not realize it. Once again, I agree, Iron Dog. That's like me going with my kids to herping, because I took them this year, and like they get bit by the Great Basin, and because here's the crazy part. I don't know if you know this, Derek. Did you know this about the Great Basin rattlesnake? They are notorious not for rattling.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So you have a good shot of being bit by one and it not rattle its tail at all, right? But still, even if it was just, let's just say, a gopher snake, whatever, and I would still take that precaution, just taking my kids to the hospital, being like, we're done herping, you're going to the ER, we're going to make sure you're okay. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I agree, man. I think that, like I said, while we're on this subject, man, I definitely agree. I think that, getting bit or not, I think anytime that your son tells you I got bit by a snake, just go. Whether it's non-venomous or not, just go get him checked out. You want your kid to be okay. So just definitely a touchy subject, especially for me, because I'm a parent. So it's like instantly for me, it's a no-brainer. Just definitely a good topic, man. Like I said, it came across my email, so I thought we would talk about it today. Before we leave, a couple more things, man. How excited? I did the one chip challenge, man. Let's tell everybody, when are you doing the one chip challenge?
So the one chip's gonna be here in next week, Tuesday or Wednesday, and the same day I get it is the same day I'm gonna deal with a one chip challenge live. And I see, Derek, but the thing is you ate half the chip and spit the half out that you chewed up out of your mouth. I'm gonna eat the whole chip and swallow it and just sit here and see how long it takes to burn.
Hot fucking chip, bro. It's pretty fucking hot chip, bro.
Who made it? You're like
BTL, we got to see you open the package and put it in your mouth. No camera edits. I don't want to see you go down. We got to see everything.
I want to be live. I want to be live. You're going to see me open it in front of everybody. I'm going to take the chip, the whole chip, put it in my mouth, chew it up, and wait it out.
Awesome. I'm excited. You said what day is that going to be on?
Tuesday or Wednesday. It said it should be here from Amazon.
Make sure you text me, man, because I definitely want to be in the chat for it, man, just to give you a little support. So if y'all can Tuesday or Wednesday, make sure y'all tap in with BPL. Give them some love, man. Watch them do the one chip challenge. It'll be a fun episode. Also, man,
who made this? Devil?
Hey, man,
that was out of your mouth.
Yeah, that was a hot fucking chip, bro. That was a hot fucking chip. Now, guess who I talked to today, man? I'll say this on the podcast. Guess who I talked to today?
If I had to guess, who haven't you talked to? That's what it comes down to.
It's pretty dope, bro. For me, it was one of my bucket lists for my podcast. But guess who I talked to? Guess.
Someone you haven't had on.
No, I haven't had them on. But it was a bucket list. They're coming on.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Somebody that you haven't had on. Huh. I don't know. I can't think of it.
Jake the Snake.
Really? Jake the Snake Roberts, the wrestler? Damn, okay. Who's next? Superfly Snugget?
No, I'm excited. He's a reptile lover and he's a wrestler. I'm excited to have him on. So definitely be a fun podcast.
Okay. You should get Kerry King.
I wanted Jake the Snake because he's an icon, he's a legend, and he's part of the reptile community. So
why not Jake? Whoa, really quick. Why not Kerry King? Have you tried Kerry King?
I've only tried Jake the Snake. Okay. And that in itself was a task. It was very hard to get a hold of him, but I talked to him. So I think it's going to be a fun podcast. I don't know when I'm dropping it, but we're working on the scheduling day. If you're here, make sure you tune in to Big Reptile Talk.
Ric Flair.
we just had Tiki's Geckos on, one of the big dogs in Florida. 100,000 subscribers. Definitely one of the big dogs when it comes to geckos. So make sure you check out that episode, man. BPL, this was an amazing podcast. Before we end it, for the people that are just tuning in, let's summarize it. We talked about Patreon. Are you for it? Yes or no?
Yes. Okay. But you got to bring something special to the table.
I agree with that. I think it's bad unless you're just giving something that's amazing. We definitely talked about, the FWC catching animals and giving them to Chandler. How did that make you feel? Just kind of summarize it for the people that just tuned in.
I think it's a good idea that Chandler was there, but I still say fuck the FWC.
I agree. I hate the FWC, but I'm glad somebody was there. I'm glad it was a positive outcome for the snake. I'm glad that he's going to be, in Chandler's care in his wildlife facility. That's one of the best places that you can be. You're going to be treated amazing. And last but not least, we talked about a guy whose kid died to a snake bite because he didn't believe him. How did that make you feel?
Pissed off. He should have done a lot more. Horrible person.
I agree.
Or parents.
I agree. It was definitely a tragic, thing that happened. I think it could have been avoided, man. So shout out to everybody that's in the chat. Much love. This is the Reptile Love Show. I'm Big Derek, and that's BPL, man. I'll let you end it, brother.
Oh, yeah. Hey, everybody that showed up, especially you, Iron Dog, dude, much love, fucking respect, all that. I'm glad to see fucking Justin back and all that. And the Iron Animal show tomorrow. If Justin's there tomorrow, it should be on his channel. But guarantee, go check out Iron Dog Reptiles and My Animal House. But I am Ball Python Love, BPL, got that shit. And that's Derek, fucking Reptiles. He has all the big name guests, especially a wrestler coming on. And peace the fuck out. Love y'all. No love lock needed.